All right, welcome back to Niners Nightly on the Sports Leader. Hope everybody's having a great July the 14th, and we're going to talk a little Jauan Jennings right now with Guy Haberman, who's joining us on the UMA guest line to talk a little bit about the story of the day. If you missed it, Jauan Jennings has given the Niners an ultimatum: pay me or trade me. What's up, Guy? How are you?
What's up, Larry? It's great to see you. I don't hate a Monday when there's a little bit of news, and we got some of that today.
Yeah, seriously. Well, what do you think? I mean, Jennings is, everybody's favorite, including the Niners. They love him. They just gave him a new 2-year deal a year ago. He's in year two, making $7.5 million. It's year two of a 2-year, $15.4 million deal that he signed at the beginning of last year. And we all know, third in Jauan. He's the glue guy. He's one of the toughest guys in the locker room. And he's also due a $5.6 million option bonus September the 1st, but he wants a new deal or he wants to be traded, and he announced it on the 14th of July, and supposedly he wants this all to be resolved before the 22nd when camp opens. What do you make of the aggressive action of Jauan Jennings?
Well, now last I checked, tell me if you've heard otherwise. I wasn't able to find anything in the reporting today from Schefter, but reading back on an article that Nick Wagner wrote last year, uh, Jauan Jennings is represented by Drew and Jason Rosenhaus. These are seasoned professionals who know how to do business. Uh, so let's be right. Like, let's at least Jauan didn't put this out today. Jauan didn't text Schefter on the 14th. This, and my guess is the Rosenhaus family operation. They've been working on this for a while. They have incentive to have been working on this for a while. The Niners' MO, while it wasn't this way with Kittle or Warner or Purdy, is to let this thing get deep into the offseason, into the beginning of the season. So I guess from that standpoint, it shouldn't be a surprise. You always laugh when a player without much leverage says, do this or I want to be or I'll request a trade, which then requires the team to agree to his trade request, which you know probably would not happen, and requires there to be a partner. The thing is, it's really good for the 49ers to have Jauan Jennings. It's really good for Jauan Jennings to remain on the 49ers. Like last year, he almost went for 1,000 yards. He was the only consistently healthy, available, and productive receiver on the team. He is the only guy, Larry, currently that checks three boxes: established, healthy. Well, or I guess that's two boxes. What was my third? I had a third box. Established, healthy.
Color,
Maybe those are the two boxes. Oh,
dyed
and
hair, dyed hair, dyed hair.
no. The third box was and not facing suspension.
Oh,
So
okay.
he's the only guy in the receiver room that's established, consistently healthy, and not facing a suspension. In other words, like he's the number one receiver on the team this year. And I do think there's a possibility if you find the right number, which it matters, like what is he asking? If you pay him $15 million, it doubles his salary, and he has a good year. That's a pretty good value. I just don't see the Niners getting into a situation where they're guaranteeing 3 years of a contract, that sort of thing. So it's a long way of saying I think there's a resolution here that benefits everybody.
Well, I'll just say this. I mean, I did a little exercise the other day just looking at every team's wide receiver core,
Yeah.
and I can almost guarantee you that there are going to be 10 to 15 decent wide receiver prospects that are going to be cut loose or exposed to waivers on the way to the practice squad. And when you have that many guys out there that are interesting, I can't pay a guy who's been a really nice player, but a complimentary piece. I can't pay him like a star, and I don't know what he wants. He's making 7.5. If he wants 2 years and 20 million, I probably could do that. 10 million a year, and get that done. But if he's really looking to break the bank and get that 15 million plus per year offer, no, I don't think so.
But
I wouldn't do it.
isn't there a thing that satisfies your criteria and his? Like Cooper Cup has a 3 year, $45 million contract, but it's 17.5 million guaranteed at signing. Like Isn't there a world where Jauan Jennings gets rewarded, gets paid? He's just turned 28 4 days ago in his prime. He gets paid. You double his salary, right? That would be a significant thing. And still at $15 million, like that's Gabe Davis money. Like for the guy who's clearly your most reliable receiver that's available to you at this point by a mile, that doesn't seem. And here's the other thing Larry would do. Now you have cost certainty in 2026 if he has a good year. Who plays on the last year of their contract? Like, what players that matter to a team play on the last year of their contract? Really?
I know. I mean, this is a really tough one because this guy's a great story, right? I mean, he was a seventh round pick. He's a self made player. He's a really savvy, tough possession receiver. He's entering his age 28 season. The stat that I think helps him, argues his case is that 53 of his 77 catches last year either went for first downs or touchdowns. And he only has a 3.4% drop rate the last 2 years. So he's a solid possession receiver for sure. And he's really, really dependable, and he's tough, and he's going to show up in the biggest games he's going to play, and he plays nicked up and everything. He's really, really good, but he's also a 4-7 receiver in a world where the receivers are plentiful. And as I said, I can go short term, like a 2-year extension for, decent money and maybe 10, maybe something like a 10 or 12, but I don't think it's smart for them to extend. What do you think of the people that have been critical of Shanahan and the 49ers saying that they've paid too many receivers, that they're too receiver centric? They spent too much money and too much draft capital on receivers already.
I mean, like I kind of shrug at it. I mean, look where they're at. They're at Brandon Ayuk on an ACL, Ricky Pearsall yet to prove anything, and Jauan Jennings and Debo gone. So have they spent too much capital? I mean, like I think you're just constantly trying to acquire. Where I would agree with you, whatever the best talent available to you is, like they didn't want to draft Ricky Pearsall. They just happened to be at the end of the first round. Nobody wanted to trade out. They took a guy they liked. So I don't know. I don't have a big beef with it. Like now, I will say this: the school of I think if you said, guy, just give me the simplest course to success for Kyle Shanahan. Just every year, if Kyle has one rule for his football team, what should that rule be? To me, the rule would be make your defense awesome. If Kyle Shanahan has an awesome defense, he's probably going to have a pretty good team, given his ability to coach offense. So, like, to the receiver criticism, I guess I get it to a point, but here we are. It's like, I don't know, it's kind of like saying you got too many starting pitchers. Like by midseason, you'll have two. So I understand the logic to the criticism, but look at this team right now. They got one proven receiver, and it's Jauan Jennings. So the other thing, Larry, some of that production could come down if McCaffrey's healthy, right? McCaffrey will get some of those first down catches, but it won't change, I think, the value of this guy. He's pretty important, and they don't have another player like him. He's not redundant in any way for them. I mean, maybe you would say, well, if Pearsall and Ayuk are both healthy and good, maybe they're a little redundant. But Jennings, there's not. They don't have another Jennings. And the irony is, I think this is probably part of the point you're making. His success is almost the proof of why you don't need to pay a guy $18 million. Because like they could have paid Kendrick Bourne and they didn't, and they drafted Jauan Jennings in the 7th round. And I understand that. That's also logical. But I just look at the situation they're in right now, and it's very easy to see a scenario where they need him in 2026. What's Ayuk's status? Again, we just everybody that's a question right now in the receiver room is also a question in 2026. It's not just that Ayuk has to come back from the injury. They also have to repair the relationship and get productivity and all that stuff. So what I see in Jennings, if you can get him on a contract that's essentially like a 2-year deal, is a pretty stable, a stable guy in a room that's pretty unstable right now.
I mean, I agree with everything you say, but ultimately, I think it's also kind of a supply. It's really just the supply and demand, right? I mean, Keenan Allen is still out there, and so's Amari Cooper, and so's Gabe Davis, and so's Tyler Boyd, and so's DJ Chark, and so's Nelson Aguilar and Jamison Crowder, and so I mean, those are
You're
just
just naming.
veterans.
I think you're just naming Raiders.
Yeah. But I mean, yeah, all these guys have played for the Raiders at some point.
Why have they all played for the Raiders?
Yeah, almost. But I mean, there are receivers out there, and there's also, going to be more receivers available at the cut down. And this guy is 28. I just, there's limits to what I would pay, I guess. I mean, he's expected to be at camp on time. He's not expected to hold out. He's expected to hold in. But he's also a very powerful personality in the room. And if he's unhappy and he's there, it just. I'll say the other thing is that this seems to be like why teams don't last very long. It's like everybody's got to get taken care of, and it's like, okay, then are we a team anymore, or is it a bunch of guys worried about themselves?
Well, but I mean that's just a function of the sport. I don't think that is the business. That's not a personality issue.
No, I'm not blaming him for it. I'm just saying, how many guys in the room can you pay? And it's like all of a sudden, it seems like it's become, as the roster ages, it becomes about everybody needs to get theirs, but the team has yet to get theirs. I mean, the team is yet to reach the pinnacle, but everybody's got to get their individual situation taken care of. He's a good player. Don't get me wrong. He was very good last year. 77 catches, could have gone for 1,000 yards, got ejected in the last game, 6 touchdowns, played 15 games.
Probably not getting, Larry, can I interrupt you?
Yeah, no, go ahead.
Is he getting 77 catches on a 12-win team?
No. I mean, that's the other thing. I mean, he did have at least 7 catches in 6 games. But, he's really, he's not. You can't pay him like a number 1 receiver, that's for sure. And I don't know where you got to pay him more like a 2 or a 3 because he's more of a 2 or a 3.
I think that I agree with that. And the Niners have like a 2, like a 1 that's like a 1.5, and a 2 that's like a 2.5. Is Ayuk a true 1? Not in the true sense of ones, but he can play like a 1, produce like. I think what you listed all those potentially available receivers, that also depresses any trade market that exists for him. So
Right.
it makes it hard for him to bully the Niners. And I don't think he wants to. He does not want to be. He doesn't want to be traded on July 14th, right? What player wants to be traded when they're the number 1 receiving target at the end of July? Go where? Go play for who? On what team? That's not what he wants. That is not the. I'd be shocked if that might have been the result Ayuk wanted. And then they were going to trade him to New England. He didn't want that result. Then they were going to trade him to Cleveland. He didn't want that result. So let's start with that. He doesn't want to be traded, and there's not going to be the hottest market for him given what you just described of available cheaper players. So I think there's really an incentive. I go back to the Cooper Kupp deal. Maybe you hate that deal, but $17.5 million of guaranteed money but he'll make 15 this year. Like, the Niners would argue, well, if it's a 1-year contract, we don't have to do anything. We'll pay you 7.5 this year, which I would understand. But I don't know. It seems to me like with an experienced agent, with what should be a soft trade market, there's a pretty acceptable conclusion here from the 49ers perspective.
How rich would you go? Because, I said I'd go 2 years, 20 million, but I don't know if I want to do I don't want to do 3 years, 45 million. I don't want to give him that much.
But even if it's really just like a 1-year, like Cooper Kupp's deal is basically a 1-year contract. It's 3 for 45 with 17.5 guaranteed. I'd have to look. His dead cap might be $8 million in 26, which is more than that's the whole Niners cap right now is $8 million in 2026. Not factoring in this rollover, which is a massive rollover at this point. What do they have? $45 million in cap space right now.
Right.
which is a lot of rollover. And I heard you, and I understand why it exists. I heard you say, like, what's the point of all this rollover cap if you don't use it? What's the point to the 2025 team? You should use some of it in 25.
Well, to me, it's a great thing to be able to do it because, like, if you're a young team that's not contending really, yeah, roll over a bunch and have it when you need it. But for a team like the 49ers that's in like twilight, so many of their Hall of Famers and stars are in the twilight of their prime. I would say this would be an odd year to kind of roll over 50 mil.
What would you trade? Since you're at least open to trading him if the right offer, if it's a hard line and he's not going to take $15 million, you would trade him? Is that what you're saying?
Guy, I don't believe there's a trade market out there for him. I really don't because when I think that the Niners are paying him commensurate with what the league thinks of him. He's like the 39th highest paid wide receiver. So I don't think that from the league's point of view, he's overpaid. He's probably paid pretty much right about what he should be paid. He might be a slight good deal. But I don't know. I think his best chance of getting the kind of money he wants is probably from the Niners. And I don't see a trade out there. Like somebody said, oh, maybe the Chargers would trade the receiver from TCU that's bombed and like a third round pick next year and something else. And I'm like, why would they do that? I don't see that happening. Quentin Johnson, I think.
It's funny when Kendrick Bourne left. He was too expensive for the Niners. He left for 3 years and $15 million and 7.2 guaranteed. And obviously that was 5 years ago, but I tend to agree with you. I think I don't know if it's exactly commensurate with the league thinks of him because when you're a seventh round pick, we saw it with Brock. You start so far behind from a salary standpoint that it's hard to ever really catch up unless you become a true free agent because everything is going to sound good to you. Like 15 million's low or 14's low, but I'm making 7.5. How do I not take that? So they're in the similar situation that Ayuk was in last year in this sense. Like, if you don't pay him, he needs to play because he's going to be a free agent. So he can't not play. Nobody holds out truly from games anymore, right? And you need to show everybody that you're worth whatever you want them to pay you as a free agent coming up. So you have a real incentive to perform. But, it feels like we never really get there. But that's the leverage the Niners have. It's like, look, man, okay, fine. Take 11. Take a 50% pay increase, and we'll do this again next year, I guess. I mean, where does it end? Do you have a prediction?
I think he stays and gets a short-term bump for one more year. But I don't think he gets a dramatic increase. But I also don't think he leaves. I mean, they like him. He likes them. I mean, he doesn't want to, as you said, I think you're totally right. He wants to be here. He just he wants to get paid. And he sees his NFL mortality. And his agent, let's just be honest about this, too. The agent's playing super hardball. And Jauan, that's Jauan's guy. I mean, the agent works for you. So, yeah, I mean, it's not like you're separate from your agent. No, you're with your agent, and he's playing super hardball. To contact the team 8 days before the veteran surgical report and to demand when you have a contract that you just negotiated a year ago, and you're saying, no, I want more. What about me?
But you don't think the team you think this is brand new to the team today?
No, but I think I think that they probably knew this was coming, but the timing is very peculiar. I can't imagine that the team would be enthralled by the timing. I don't think they're surprised necessarily, but that's just because Lynch is pretty savvy. They're pretty smart. They kind of knew Jauan was, going to ask for more. I mean he's been the guy who's produced. He's the guy that shows up in the Super Bowl. So I understand why he wants to get taken care of. I just think that the NFL equation is about what's your market, what have you done, but it's also about what are you going to do. And I think there's, at 28 and his body's starting to break down a little bit, I think I'd be surprised if they gave him a more than more than one more year and more than like a couple extra million. I don't think he's getting like a 2-year, $35 million extension or anything. Do you?
A 2-year, $35 million extension.
Which would be like 17 and a half a year. So people are suggesting that he's
That
going to make 15 to 20, and that he wants 15 to 20 per year, and that's the neighborhood he wants to be in. And to
yeah.
me, that's too rich. If that's the neighborhood he wants to be in, I would say that's awesome. Good luck to you. Thank you for your contribution. But because of supply and demand, and there's such a great supply, I can't pay that money.
Yeah, I just go back to the guarantee. Like, what is the guarantee? I think you can give him a major boost this year on a deal that looks like it's that deal you're discussing. I'm with you. I wouldn't $17 million over 3 years or something. I would not do.
Would you give him his last deal? His last deal was 2 years, 15.3 million.
Oh, in a heartbeat. Because
hey, 2 more years. So we'll tack on 2 more years at the same price.
Yeah, but he's not gonna. But I don't think
he
he's
wants more.
That deal. Yeah,
no,
he wants 15. More. And again, like I understand why he does. The Rosenhaus, these are professional agents. Okay, they have a reputation to uphold, Larry, and it's not to just sit at home and let guys reach free agency all the time. So I think they're doing their job. And you were at OTAs. I was at mini. Like we watched him. He was one of the best players on the field. Right?
He looks fine. I mean, that's not his game. His game is not OTAs. He's not a practice guy. He's a Sunday guy.
But I agree. But he practiced hard the other day.
Yeah. No, I mean, the guy's tough. The guy's a gamer. He's a leader. He's one of the tone setters on the team. I mean, it's more of a locker room thing than anything, because this is one of the leaders in the room. And how many you took away Armstead, you took away Greenlaw, you took away Afonga. How many leaders do you want to lose? And they've lost quite a few of them, and this guy's definitely one.
Yeah, I think he's a leader on the field. I'm not sure
on the field.
Yeah, it's I think the locker room understands.
Well, it's the NFL. I mean, it's business, and business always prevails and always goes on, and nobody's naive to it. But I'm just saying, this guy. Like there's a lot of guys that don't matter. I mean, I know that sounds kind of weird, but a lot of guys, it doesn't matter. They're kind of interchangeable. This guy matters.
He does, but I would just say, like, my point of contention, it's not a point of contention, but like this team has, I don't know, 8 other like leaders. His style fits, and he's a fit. That's the thing. He's a fit for them. They're a fit for him. I kind of think his game actually ages maybe better than it sounds like you do. But
I'm worried about. I got to be honest. I'm a little concerned about how he's going to evolve. Let's say in the twilight of his career, because because you always lose a little bit of speed, but most of these guys have a little bit of speed to lose. Now this guy doesn't have a lot of speed to lose, and you show me a receiver that runs like came into the league 4.7s and maybe slows down a little bit. I don't know. That's not necessarily. I don't know that I want to invest any more guaranteed dollars in this position. Yeah. What do you think of that?
Yeah, I get it. Sure. I mean, it's just so much of it is dependent on like what's going to happen with Ayuk.
Right.
Is he going to be back? Is he going to be back in 25 to his old self? Is he going to be back on the team in 26? Is he going to be back to his old self in 26? If he's not, then you need how do you get receivers? Now, the other thing you would say is like go look at the first Shanahan Super Bowl team. What do they really have at receiver that year? They added what's his name from the Broncos halfway through the year, right?
Emmanuel Sanders.
Like he's had Julio. He's had some great receivers here. Shanahan has won with like his receiver room not being one of the top paid receiver rooms in the league, right? But again, right now in 2025, you have one guy that checks all 3 boxes: proven, healthy, not facing suspension, and it's Jauan Jennings. So that's worth something. I think you could. I guess my point, Larry, is you can pay him. You can do a contract with him that doesn't really hamstring you when he's 30 years old. I
I'm
think maybe
sure.
I'm wrong. Maybe he wouldn't accept it. Maybe he wants $20 million a year, and then I'm wrong about that.
I'm sure Rosenhaus feels like he's got the Niners over a barrel. If there wasn't a Jauan Jennings and Ayuk is out until later in the year, let's just take this report this week that he'll be back week 1 as just that's not true, or the possibility exists. But let's just say that's slim and it's probably not going to happen. And let's just say Demarcus Robinson isn't there, so you have no Ayuk, no Debo, obviously, no Demarcus Robinson, and possibly no Jauan Jennings. How do you see? I mean, what do you got? You got, and that's if everybody else stays healthy. You've got Pearsall, Cowing, and Watkins, and then it's Isaiah Hodgins, Isaiah Nayer, Junior
Junior
Bergen.
Bergen. Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's pretty thin.
It's thin, and I think the highlight there is Ricky Pearsall. The last 40 days ago, or not 40 days ago, whatever it is, 33 days ago, he ended camp hurt.
Right, didn't finish,
and had a shoulder injury last year that he got in the preseason. So that's the big if in that room. That's the big if. But he finished last year with such momentum. Brent Jones, who you know very well, who I talked to on my YouTube channel a couple weeks ago, he thought that Ricky really showed something late in the year, not just in production, but in separation and comfort. And he expects him to have a big year. So I'm hopeful, but he's got to be healthy.
It's going to be interesting. It's going to be really interesting. And then there's, the whole slew of other receivers, guys like Christian Kirk around the league that could be, trade eligible in August at any point. And there's a whole list of guys like that. There's a list of young receivers that, probably are in crowded situations. Green Bay, Jets, KC, very crowded situations. We'll see about that. One last one before we let you go. We appreciate you stopping by. The great Guy Haberman with us on the UMA guest line here on Niners Nightly. Jerry Rice said the Niners have added too many pieces, too many additions, that they should have stayed with more continuity and he feels almost like, and I don't want to put words in Jerry's mouth, but judging from what he said recently, it seems like he feels like there's been too much turnover, especially on defense, and that turnover may preclude them from being a true contender of any sort this year. And he's kind of looking at it as kind of like, hey, they should have kept a lot of these other guys. I don't know if I would agree, other than Greenlaw. And even Greenlaw, that was a with my heart, not my head kind of a decision. I love Jerry, and Jerry knows more than everybody, right? He knows so much about this game. But what do you think? Do you agree with Jerry? Have the Niners lost too many pieces? Do they have too little continuity to really contend in 2025?
Well, other than Mooney Ward, who it was clear was not going to come back, who would you want back? And Greenlaw. So there's one guy you couldn't have had back. If you wanted Drew Greenlaw back, I understand that. Beyond that, what'd you want back? Bosa's back, Lenore's back, Fred Warner's back. That's a pretty good defensive core. Were you going to bring back one of the Were you going to bring back Hufunga? Is that what you wanted to do? Like, I don't know. Like, who else would you even point to? Who's on that list?
I think some of those guys had bigger names than they had game left. But to be completely honest,
I don't. Your offensive line is going to return 4 out of the 5. Your quarterback's back. Your tight end's back. Your running backs are back. Your number 1 receiver from last year, I guess, is back. But I just don't know. Ward. If you could have said one guy has to come back that wouldn't have come back, that didn't come back, like I think, which maybe it would have picked Mooney Ward.
Yeah.
Over
for me, it's Mooney.
So,
for me,
and he wasn't going to come back. Right. That situation was pretty clear. So this is the natural progression of things, unfortunately. And, I still look at a team and go, when you bring back Nick Bosa, Diamador Lenore, Fred Warner, you used 2 premium picks on defensive linemen up front. You drafted a corner last year that projects now to be your other corner in Renardo Green. You brought your defensive coordinator back. Like, that's good. That's good. That should be good enough. Put it that way. It should be good enough. The safety is a big question, though, Larry. There's no question. Safety is a huge question, but you can help the safeties out with the pass rush.
They're going to need a few breaks. They're going to need a few breaks to.
Well, they got one. Look at their schedule.
They got a very favorable schedule. They're going to need a few breaks. But I think it's reasonable to think that they can contend. I really do. They were really poor in the division. I think they're going to get the upper hand in the division this year. I love the schedule. I love what I saw from Purdy in the offseason. He looks like he's really on another level. I think the loss of Debo, which is such a big national talking point, I don't think is going to be that big because I think you've got some guys that create more separation. I think because you'll have more separation, Brock will throw fewer 50-50 balls. I think there's potentially fewer turnovers because of that. So I think there's some positives in the transition. I don't see it as, oh my God, they've lost everybody. The ones that people would point to would be like, hey, they really kind of need as much pass rush and the D-line as possible, and they let Malik Collins go. They replaced him with a rookie. They let Leonard Floyd go. They replaced him with a rookie. I mean, I guess they brought in Bryce Huff after that, but they brought in a lot of youth up front. So we're going to have to – the big question is how's the youth going to play up front? But I'll say this. I love C.J. West. I think C.J. West is a monster. That's a get for sure. I don't know about the rest of them, but I love him. All right, man. How much are we going to see up in camp? You're always at training camp. You're a big training camp guy.
Oh, I'm a big training camp guy, Larry.
Well, I don't know if you love it, but you're there. I'll say this, man.
I do.
You're out there with the rest of us sweating it out.
Yeah,
and I know you got a lot of college football on your schedule this year. But
I'll miss a few camp days because of Big Ten media days in Vegas in a couple of weeks. But I will see you out there. Media days. There's 3 days media days, but a lot of teams.
What any games that you can tell us about in September for the KMBR audience that are big Guy Haberman fans that want to find you and see your college football work? Is there any game you can tease that we can kind of put on the schedule that we have to see because of you?
Just the early non-con, Larry. So you get your USC Missouri State week 1 for all the Trojan fans. I am excited. I'm going to go see Penn State and your boy Drew Aller week 2.
Nice, they're loaded.
I'm excited about that. Yeah, they are loaded.
They're really loaded. Guy Haberman, he's the best. He's outstanding. Check him out. He's a great follow on YouTube. Check him out on X. Guy, thanks again, man. We'll do it again.
Killing it, Larry. Great to talk to you, man.
Guy Haberman. We got more straight ahead. It's Niners Nightly on the Sports Leader.